about in the state of Texas. Freedom is safe here, and it has been for years. The work that you've done with our friends in the legislature has been incredible. We've restored Second Amendment rights. We've expanded those. We've protected your right to self-defense, your right to protect yourself and your family, because everything we know is it really is your responsibility to provide for your family's safety and your own safety. So whether that's removing red tape for concealed carry by removing that burdensome permit requirement with constitutional carry, allowing adults to provide for their own safety of college campuses, even removing red tape around short-barrel firearms. Your leadership has been impeccable on that, and it's an honor for us to endorse you for re-election.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, go ahead. Turn it over to Michael Moore with Texas Campgrounds.
Yes, my name is Michael Moore. I'm the Assistant Executive Director for Texas Campgrounds. Governor Abbott has been a champion for the camping industry for over a decade, and we wholeheartedly endorse his re-election campaign. Over the years, he's signed legislation that has helped Texas Campgrounds deal with unruly and dangerous guests, plus those that attempt to not pay for their service. He signed legislation that protects Texas Campgrounds from erroneous and frivolous lawsuits when it comes to engaging in normal camping activities. He signed legislation that prevented campgrounds from unnecessary and unfair utility billing, which has actually encouraged conservation around the state. And perhaps most significantly, he recently signed SB 1 to enhance the safety of Texas campgrounds through safe evacuations in the wake of the July 4th flood. Additionally, Governor Abbott has been a champion of lower taxes in Texas, particularly property taxes, and we stand ready to work with the governor's office to enact meaningful relief for businesses across Texas, including RV parks and campgrounds in this next session. All of this, plus the governor's unwavering support for tourism in our great state, has allowed Texas campgrounds to succeed and prosper, and we thank Governor Abbott for his support of our members and look forward to working with him to better our industry for many years to come. Thank you, Governor.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. For those I haven't met, I'm Nash Murray, President of Texas Deer Association. Today, I want to talk honestly about why TDA is endorsing Governor Greg Abbott, especially knowing that some of our own members may feel frustrated, uncertain, or even unheard at times. I hear you. Our industry is navigating important challenges and opportunities. Deer breeders and high fence operations are working through regulatory changes, evolving disease management efforts, and decisions that affect livelihoods, land values, and family businesses. These aren't abstract issues, they impact real people. So let me be clear, this endorsement doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means that we believe Governor Abbott is the leader most willing to listen, engage, and help us find practical, workable solutions. Governor Abbott believes conservation works best when landowners and the state work together, not against each other. He supports science-based policy, respects private property, and understands that rural Texas depends on viable businesses, not one-size-fits-all mandates. Just as important, he listens. When industries face challenges, he brings stakeholders to the table. He understands that good policy comes from collaboration, not mandates handed down without real-world input. At TDA, we believe that people closest to the land are often best equipped to protect it. Governor Abbott shares that same belief with us, and his administration recognizes the critical role private landowners play in wildlife conservation. This election is about direction. It's about protecting property rights, supporting rural communities, preserving our hunting heritage, and making sure our voices are heard. For these reasons, the Texas Deer Association is proud to support Governor Greg Abbott and his continued leadership for Texas. On behalf of the Texas Deer Association, thank you. God bless Texas, and thank you for all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you everyone for being here today. My name is Josh Bolger, and I'm here on behalf of the Game Warden Peace Officers Association. Governor Abbott has been a steady ally to law enforcement and to the men and women who serve the state. He has a proven record of upholding the rule of law to keep Texas safe, prosperous, and free. He has led Texas in securing the border to safeguard our communities and has consistently backed new law enforcement at every level. Under his leadership, Texas game wardens have been provided the resources necessary to do their jobs effectively and safely. For these reasons, the Game Warden Peace Officers Association is proud to endorse Governor Abbott for re-election as we continue our mission to enhance public safety, educate the next generation of Texans, and to protect and preserve Texas land, water, and wildlife. It is my honor to introduce Governor Greg Abbott.
Thank you. Josh, thank you very much for your introduction, but also thank you very much for what you and the game wardens do across the entire state of Texas. Thank you for the endorsement. of the Game Wardens Peace Officers Association. Michael, thank you for everything that you're doing to constantly improve the campground experience for Texans as well as others who visit here, not just from across the country, but from across the entire world. Nash, also thank you, man, for the Deer Association endorsement. Thank you to you and your entire membership. And John, thank you, and to the NRA for what you do to make sure that we truly are guardians of Second Amendment rights in our state. And then I'm also proud to have join with us here today Representative Angie Chimbutton, Representative Hayes, Representative Leach, Representative Katrina Pearson, Representative Matt Shaheen from the Texas legislature who share in these values, who have been a part of the laws that these representatives have talked about here today, laws I'll make some quick reference to here in a moment. But getting things done to improve the experience in the great outdoors is something that is a collaborative effort in the Texas legislature, and I truly thank the members of the Texas House of Representatives who join with us here today. Listen, I've enjoyed the outdoors since I was just a kid growing up in Longview, Texas, where I was a Boy Scout, and that's when I first truly experienced living and experiencing outdoors. We would be on camps almost every weekend, sometimes for prolonged periods of time, and you learn what it means to live off of the earth, live off the land, and get connected to the great outdoors. In Longview is where I first drove a boat, when I first went deer hunting, when I first visited some of the beautiful parks that we have in the entire state of Texas. And as a Texan, I can tell you that I've been inspired by the vast beauty that we have in our great state across our many regions. As a constitutionalist, I have worked to secure a guarantee of the Second Amendment rights of my fellow Texans. Many organizations like those here today, they work every day to preserve the riches of our land, to protect our constitutional rights. I am grateful for what they do every day and grateful for their endorsement for my campaign for re-election as governor of our great state. Also want to thank all of the organizations who are making an endorsement today, and they deserve to be called out by name. The Boating Trades Association, the Game Wardens Peace Officers Association, the Exotic Wildlife Association, the NRA, the Texas Deer Association, the Texas Association of Campground Owners, the Texas Forestry Association, the Texas Recreational Vehicle Association, the Texas State Rifle Association, and the Texas Wildlife Association. I thank them for their endorsement. I thank them for what they do to preserve this land that we call Texas and to preserve our constitutional rights. A couple of more points. I fought with them to protect Second Amendment rights and to preserve our beautiful outdoor spaces in our state. I've signed about 30 laws to secure Second Amendment rights in the state of Texas. And working with the members of the legislature behind me, we invested $1 billion that the voters of the state of Texas ratified this past November. I'm sorry, that was 2 Novembers ago, to provide $1 billion to both preserve and to expand the parklands that we have in our state so that more people will be able to enjoy the great outdoors in the state of Texas. Organizations here are leaders in this state in preserving those great outdoors and to make Texas more attractive for the robust tourism and travel industry that we have in our state. Together, we all have one mission, and that is to keep Texas, Texas. And with my re-election, we will guarantee that we accomplish that goal. Take a few questions. Governor. I know, Jack, off topic, but try.
So you issued a very strongly worded letter to Attorney General Ken Paxton, where you demanded the Attorney General's office use its legal authority to strip care their operations in Texas. And so I'm wondering, is the Attorney General's office not doing its job?
So for one, I wanted to outline, not just for the Attorney General, but for the people of Texas, actions that can and must be taken to address these issues. So it's an important piece of communication. Listen, I've talked to the Attorney General, and they're ready, willing, and able to step up and make sure they do everything that we can to safeguard Texas and Texans from organizations that have historical connections to terrorism. It's outrageous that we have organizations tied to terrorism that are involved in programs in our state, and that's exactly why I designated them as a foreign terrorist organization, to make sure that we will be able to purge their presence from the state of Texas.
Did you issue that letter? It seemed like you were unsatisfied with the case of the Attorney General's office.
I just wanted to make clear, what needs to be done and the urgency for the need for speed.
Governor, what's your motivation behind the H-1B visa freeze? If you talk to the business community, they will say these are good candidates that Texas jobs want to hire. What's going on there? Why do
Well, you mentioned the business community and things like this. We're going to put things in context here, and that is states. I'm sorry, we're getting states do not issue H-1B visas. That's totally done by the federal government, and as it concerns any interaction with the private sector, that's up to the federal government to address. And, as you probably know, the president has already done that in a way. He increased the fee to $100,000, which puts strict limitations on the number of people who will be applying for H-1B visas. In addition to that, however, there's two things we wanted to achieve. One is, listen, there are allegations of fraud and abuse in the H-1B visa system. We want to take a look at that. For the most part, if it's involved in the private sector, that's going to be the federal government's responsibility to address. However, as I pointed out, there are public sector participants in hiring people with H-1B visas. We have public schools in the state of Texas, as well as higher education institutions in the state of Texas. And because of allegations of fraud and abuse, not just in Texas, but also elsewhere, I want to make sure that we are able to look into it. And that's why I pressed pause for any new contracts or hiring of people through H-1B visas in the public sector in the state of Texas until such time as the Texas legislature is going to have the ability to look into it and be able to, for one, root out and investigate and maybe even prosecute any fraud that's taken place, but to make sure that our public institutions in the state of Texas are not participating in a program that may be rife with fraud or that may be hiring somebody from some other country, taking a job that a Texan can easily fulfill.
What did you see that made you want to look into that, though? Is it when you talk about fraud, is there an example to point to?
Well, there's several different types of allegations that have been made. One is that some of the people who are being hired through the H-1B visa process are not truly bringing unique experience that otherwise cannot be fulfilled by a Texan. An easy example that I got a lot of questions about, public schools, as in K through 12, they're using H-1B visas to teach our kids. Why can't we have Texans teaching our kids? And so there's a lot of examples like that that just raise a lot of questions that deserve us to have the opportunity to look into it.
Governor, I wanted to ask you about your comments earlier this week. You told Mark Davis that ICE needed to recalibrate. What did you mean by that?
Sure. Well, what I meant is I was characterizing what the president was doing that very day. What the president did that very day was to have Tom Homan go into Minnesota and work with the leadership of Minnesota on a way that ICE and local law enforcement can work more collaboratively together. Part of the problem, let's take a step back. President Trump inherited the worst illegal immigration process and system in the history of America. And he was elected to do three things. One is to stop people crossing the border illegally. Two is to make sure we have border security. Three is to remove people who were here illegally. And he's gone about that process of all three of those, but especially with regard to removal, he's gone about that process without too much difficulty. There was some in L.A., and then it surfaced more prolifically in Minnesota. He faced a problem in Minnesota, and that is a governor and a mayor stoking agitation by their own constituents. A governor and a mayor who, in my opinion, violated the law. It is illegal to interfere with law enforcement performing a law enforcement duty. And so the president and the White House and ICE were all dealing with truly unprecedented action where citizens and elected officials were violating the law of the United States by interfering with law enforcement. And so naturally, what the president chose to do was to reassess that situation and to find a pathway that would lead to greater success in Minnesota, which is far different than some of the other states across the country.
I know there were protesters out at Dilley, Texas yesterday. There was pepper spray used because the crowd would not listen. And a number of Democratic leaders were there afterwards. And the Gina Hinojosa, who's running for governor, as you know, criticized Texas for being the only state to have families allowed to be detained at these ICE facilities. What do you say to that?
Well, listen, what happened out there in Texas, we make it clear. If you want to protest, protest. But if you disobey orders of law enforcement performing a law enforcement function, you're going to face consequences, whether it be arrest, whether it be pepper spray, or we have other less lethal measures that can be taken. But we're not going to mess around like they do in Minnesota. If you mess around with law enforcement in the state of Texas, you're going to pay the consequences.
On the outdoor front, I know the Texas voters have approved more money for state parks, but do you support an effort to add more state parks in the state of Texas in the legislative session?
Yeah. Well, kudos to you for getting back on topic. So one thing that we in the legislature thought about, but candidly we were just echoing what Texans want, and that is as our population grows, we want to make sure that we preserve some of the most pristine, some of the most beautiful land that we have in the state of Texas from encroachment, and we want to make sure that current Texans, but future generations of Texans, are going to have the opportunity to be able to visit some of the most beautiful locations. You may have noticed 2 weeks ago, I was there for the announcement of the first state park that was announced under that program. There are many more in the queue right now, and we hope to be able to continue to expand that so that hundreds of years from now, people are going to be able to enjoy the great outdoors in our state.
And you think that dedicated money that voters sent will be enough, or does the legislature use it?
We're going to find out. We've got, the state and the Texas Parks and Wildlife, they've got a lot of money to be able to address the situation right now. We can always make reassessments later.
Governor Abbott, Logan Washburn with the Dallas Express. So if you're reelected for another term, what is your stance on things like red flag laws, and how do you plan to advance that?
Well, I'm against red flag laws. To advance the Second Amendment, listen, here's what I've done. As I mentioned earlier, listen, I've signed about 30 laws. Texas has the most comprehensive Second Amendment protections of any state in the country. We went from campus carry to open carry to constitutional carry. And every Texan has a right to be able to possess a gun, period.
One more question
Sure.
here for Spectrum News. I'm Javier Sanchez. Do you think legal gun owners should carry their gun in any protest? And what is your take on that?
Well, there is let me tell you the law in Texas, the law that I've signed, and the current practice in communities across the state. In the state of Texas, our law is what's called constitutional carry. Our law is that you can open carry. There are protests and other activities that occur all the time when people are carrying guns and doing so lawfully. And in Texas, we believe that gun owners have a responsibility to carry that gun responsibly. They know full well, a gun carrier does, if they pull a gun and aim it at somebody, then that other person has the right of self-defense. And so open carry is fine in the state of Texas, but don't point a gun at anybody knowing that somebody else may be exercising their right of self-defense.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for staying on top of you. You're the only one. You get the A grade for today.
Outdoor man.
I'll get you.
Hey, guys,
Representatives, can we get one group photo?
team photo.